We have children in this country, some of whom are American citizens, in our cities and towns, who go to very poor public schools, very dangerous public schools that are ineffective. We also have children of illegal aliens who come into this country. They bear their children here. They claim citizenship. And what's interesting to me, and this is the point I was talking about the first hour that I wanted to address at some length this hour. Harry Reid, Nancy Pelosi, they tell those little kids in the inner cities and in these towns who are born of American citizen parents to go to hell. Because they're in bed with the NEA and the AFT. And, of course, their idea of funding public education is funding the AFT and the NEA. And the result is obvious. It's a disaster. And every effort to liberate these children, to enable their parents to send their kids to working schools, to other schools, well, they're thwarted by Obama and Pelosi and Reid and all the Democrats, or most of them. Meanwhile, illegal alien children, well, they're fought for by Harry Reid with the DREAM Act. He wants to make sure that not only that they can go to college, but that they can become citizens at some point. While the actual citizen children are left in this academically squalid educational environment. So I want to address both of these because I believe they're related. First of all, this issue of birthright citizenship. It pains me to watch some of the morons on television and listen to some on the radio who have absolutely no comprehension of this issue. And they do not take the time to inform themselves. Or they don't give a damn. It's the 14th Amendment we're looking at. The 14th Amendment. Does the 14th Amendment grant automatic citizenship to children of illegal aliens? The relevant part of the amendment reads that, quote, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States. This language requires more than birth within the United States. The amendment's purpose was to grant citizenship to the emancipated slaves who were born in the United States and owed sole allegiance to the United States. Even Native Americans, who were also subject to tribunal jurisdiction, were excluded from citizenship, even though they were born within the United States, because at the time anyway, they were also considered tribal members or citizens. There is no legislative history whatsoever supporting the absurd proposition that the 14th Amendment was intended to empower illegal alien parents to confer American citizenship on their own babies merely as a result of their birth in the United States illegally. Foreign visitors and diplomats who happen to have children in the United States, those children don't become citizens of the United States. They remain citizens of the nation of which their parents are citizens. Just as illegal aliens are subject to the jurisdiction of their own country, their home country, and their children are, whether they're born in their home country or the United States. One of the great experts on this, and an old friend of mine, Professor Edward Earler, testifying before Congress. He said in the case of the children born to aliens illegally in the U.S., their citizenship would follow the citizenship of their parents or be determined by the laws of the country in which the parents hold citizenship. The fact that illegal aliens have violated laws of the United States precludes any possibility that they can be properly said to be within the jurisdiction of the United States, as the aliens surely have demonstrated that they do not believe themselves to be subject to the laws of the United States, or are only partially subject to them. Contrary to a currently fashionable argument, he testified, the denial of birthright citizenship of children of illegal aliens does not punish the children for the sins of the parents, because the children don't have a right to citizenship in the first place. They're being denied nothing that is rightfully theirs. It'd be a different matter for the children born of legal aliens who have been admitted by the laws of the United States. It's a completely different matter. Now, we have one Supreme Court decision they always point to where the Supreme Court majority got it wrong. But so what? We're talking about the history of the 14th Amendment. We're talking about what the authors of the 14th Amendment intended. Not what some Supreme Court said 40 or so years later, 35, 40 years later. It is amazing to me the nitwits who are all over TV, pretenders to knowledge, who go on and on. It says people, jurisdiction of the United States, and they don't want to understand the original meaning, the original intent. See, we're not strict constructionists. We're originalists. We want to know what this language meant and was intended at the time it was adopted. I've said it before. That's how you interpret any contract and their terms and conditions. When you buy a home and have a mortgage, when you take a loan out on a car, it's not living and breathing. What did the parties mean when they said this? And the problem isn't that it's confusing or incomprehensible. The problem is that they don't want to know what was meant when the 14th Amendment was ratified, because it doesn't serve their objectives. It doesn't get them politically where they want to go. So our entire federal bureaucracy, our entire federal government, including the judiciary, including the Senate majority and Harry Reid, the now minority in the House, the President of the United States, twist the Constitution and the 14th Amendment, as have those who preceded them, to push a lie. That if a foreigner comes into this country illegally and has a baby, that somehow they can unilaterally and on their own confer American citizenship on their own baby. 14th Amendment has nothing to do with that. And yet all the time and resources spent on advancing that case for those children. And then we have the children in our inner cities. The children born in our inner cities. The children born